Hello, boys and girls. Today we're going to discuss the other half of yesterday's lesson. Yesterday we discussed how schools have changed over time. Today we're going to talk about how the roles of women have changed over time. So we've been talking about these two girls, Mary and Mariko, and we're going to see how their life as girls and women is different. We already know that Mary is 7 years old. She grew up a very long time ago in Kansas. And Mariko is from present time, which means today. She's also 7 years old and lives in Boston, Massachusetts. We know that they're alike in many ways, and today we're going to learn how they see women differently. So we discussed about Mary's school yesterday. Mary's school had one teacher and many different children of different ages and in different grades. Now, speaking of her teacher, one way women were treated differently a long time ago was with their job. If they had a job and they wanted to get married and have a family, they had to quit their job so that they can focus on being at home and taking care of their home and their family. In Mary's community, if a female teacher gets married, she has to quit teaching. They believe that her most important job should become taking care of the household for her husband. That sounds very different than how we live today. As people traveled westward, they could claim land for their family. On that land, they could build a house and a farm. Only the head of the household could claim land, so many women were not able to. The head of the household means the person that takes care of the whole family. They have a job, they make money, and usually once women are married, they don't have a job anymore. So the head of the household was usually the husband, and only the husband would be able to claim land. So many women were not able to. Women were expected to get married, have children, and tend to the house. Tending to the house means to take care of the house, cooking and cleaning. Women that lived on a farm were expected to take care of the children, make clothes, cook meals for the family, and tend to the farmland. So not only are they taking care of the house and the children, they have to make their own clothes, and they have to take care of the farm. In the cities, life was a bit different for women. So remember, Mary lived on a homestead, which looked like this, a big farm space. It had land and animals and crops. So a long time ago, there were cities. They weren't very big like our cities today, but they were still there and women did work. A very small number of women were able to get jobs outside of the home. So working outside of the home is not common. Some worked as seamstresses, making clothes. Others worked in factories, and some worked taking care of wealthy people's children. So there were some women, not only did they have to take care of their own families, but they worked to take care of rich people's children, people that had a lot of money. That's what wealthy means. Factory owners liked to hire women because they could pay them less than men. Women during the time were not able to vote in elections. So this is very important. A long time ago, they believed that women did not do as good a job as men. So they paid them less money. And people that hired women figured, okay, well, you're not going to work as hard as a man, so I shouldn't pay you as well as a man, which was not true. But that's the way they thought. They were also not allowed to vote in elections. Women were not allowed to vote until 1920, which is many years after Mary's time. Mary has been hearing that women in the city are upset because they aren't being treated fairly. They are upset that they aren't being paid the same as men for doing the same job. So even though they were hired to do the same thing as a man, they still were not getting paid the same. They are upset that they aren't allowed to have certain jobs because they are women. Even though she knows that not all women agree with this and many men are angry, Mary was secretly excited. She hopes that the women succeed in getting equal rights because she wants to be able to open a store in the city one day. So Mary wants to work outside of the home. And if these women are upset and they're fighting to get equal rights, which means being able to do the same thing as men, when she grows up, she can do something she really wants. Now we're looking at Mariko's family and her life and women around her. Mariko's teacher has a family of her own. She must be really busy. Women like Mariko's mom have very important jobs too. Mariko's mom owns a company that makes tools for doctors to use. She works very hard. Now, a woman would not have been able to do this job in the time that Mary was growing up. Mariko's mom went to a big college and learned how to become a business owner. Mariko wants to do that when she grows up too. She wants to buy a cool apartment in the city and get a dog. Mariko's friends all want to be different things when they grow up. Esther wants to be a veterinarian and take care of animals. Adia wants to be a police officer and help people. Do you think that in the time that Mary grew up, women would be able to be a police officer? Definitely not. Simone wants to be an architect and design cool buildings. Mariko and her friends know that they can have any job they want if they worked hard and do well in school. So growing up as a 7-year-old, Mariko knows she's able to do a lot of things when she gets older. Mary was hoping that these women will get equal rights, so when she grows up, she'll be able to do what she wants. Women that Mariko looks up to are hard workers. They work hard, taking care of their families. They make their voices heard by voting in their elections. So this is different. Today, women are allowed to vote in elections. And more women vote than anyone else today. They work hard to be treated fairly and equally. While Mary and Mariko have some things in common, their lives are very different. Schools and the role of women have changed a lot over time. How else is life different today? So today our worksheet is pretty much the same as it's always been. We're thinking about the roles of women. Now quickly before I let you go, what does that mean, the role of women? It means what are women allowed to do today that they were not allowed to do many, many years ago. Long ago, women had very specific jobs. They worked at home, they took care of babies, they made clothes, they took care of the farm. If they worked in the city, they got paid less than men, and they were not allowed to vote. I think I said that already, I'm not sure. Today, women are able to get any job they want, they are allowed to vote, they have a family and a job, just like many of your families, just like many of your moms. They have jobs and they take care of the house too. For this page, you're going to write 2 things about a role of a woman long ago and 2 things about a role of a woman today that we want them to be different. So what are 2 things that women did long ago that is different than 2 things women are able to do today?